And that's coming from the perspective of someone who actually cares as a fan, someone who's not a hater, who's not a naysayer. I feel let down. But let's talk about something Casey did do, which is the interview with Logan Paul.
He did do that.
I had mixed feelings on how that was done.
Okay.
And all of my critiques of that interview come from someone who interviews people as a living.
Sure.
I would love to get your thoughts on it first, though.
I know how you feel, and we've kind of talked about this before the podcast, and I thought the interview was spectacular.
Yeah.
Because in my job, I have to always view things on the sunny side. I'm not a hardcore reporter who's trying to get dirt on people. I'm not trying to expose anybody.
Right.
My literal job is to make people look great and to show the fun side of whatever is happening.
Sure.
There's no fun side in this interview, but maybe Casey could have gone more hardcore, really laid it into him, or maybe the dance of the interview could have gone a little bit differently. But as a person who was just listening to his questions, I felt inspired by listening to the way that he asked things.
His questions were brilliant.
Phenomenal. I thought he did a good job at feeling the pushback from Logan and realizing, okay, if I push too hard, maybe he'll stop talking to me. And then also realizing, like, he's not Oprah. He's not there to give him an aha moment. There is no aha moment for Logan Paul. He is the way he is, and I think we saw in that interview, there is no direction with how he thinks his content is being made. Like, he contradicted himself a little bit too much in that, and he knows it, but that's part of his character.
I think Logan Paul is one of the smartest people I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
He understands the art of manipulation to a degree of a Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I mean that as both a compliment and an insult.
Yeah.
He knows how to manipulate the audience. He knows how to manipulate the way that people perceive him. Some of the breakdowns on the Logan Paul KSI videos of how he manipulates people in there. As a person who creates content, it is brilliant work.
Yeah.
But backtracking to Casey and Logan. Casey set himself up for a weird failure in doing a disclaimer at the beginning of the video.
You think so?
100%.
Okay.
You don't plant those ideas into people's minds of, maybe I shouldn't have done this, maybe I should have did this, but, maybe it wasn't, like...
It's like people who start vlogs and they go, sorry, it's been so long, I haven't vlogged, I'm so sorry. Just get past that. No one's thinking about that.
Don't bore us, get to the chorus.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
With Casey, setting it up with the disclaimer already showed sort of an uncomfortableness and a lack of self-confidence that we normally don't see in him.
Yeah.
I understand he's being vulnerable, but I also feel like a bit of that is like, you guys aren't going to believe what you're going to see next.
Yeah.
But it set it up as already being divisive. His interview style, his questions were superb.
Phenomenal.
The guy is so bright.
Yeah.
And he's successful for the reason because he is so much smarter than most people.
Yeah.
But Casey's also a cool guy.
Yeah.
And the body language of, I don't really know if I want to be sitting next to this guy, was so loud. And
his or Logan's? Like
Casey's.
Okay.
He never wanted to fully go in on the video because I could tell the whole time he was worried about being perceived as being
his friend,
compassionate.
Yeah.
To Logan Paul.
Yeah.
And so therefore, the questions were asked in such an aggressive way that it put Logan on the defense. And if you catch a lot, what is it? You catch a lot more flies with honey.
Yeah. Bees. Flies? Is it bees or flies?
You catch a lot more flying.
Let us know.
You catch a lot more flying bees with honey.
And you catch some insects with honey than you do vinegar, right? That's
right.
it.
You got it.
Something.
You nailed it.
Okay.
Put that, embroider that into a little cross stitch.
Carve it in my headstone, please.
The way that he was asking the questions was so like, I don't want to be associated with you. I'm not a fan of you, but I'm going to ask you all these hard-hitting questions. You know how to do this job. Mm-hmm. There's a way where you say, oh, I bet that was probably pretty rough for you. Or what was it like to feel that? He fell into Logan's trap.
Yeah.
And I think that if you show compassion for Logan Paul, there's a way to let people know, I don't agree with this guy. I'm not on his level, but I have compassion for his stupidity.
Yeah.
For his naiveness on things.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a way to call somebody out where you can be like, but you don't really feel that way, do you? And you get more out of your subject that way. And so it was kind of contentious. And because it was contentious, I think Casey fell into Logan's trap of nobody understands me, woe is me. And
yeah. See, I see what you're saying. I can see it being perceived that way. I didn't perceive it that way at all. I thought he went in pretty hard and even highlighted moments where Logan may have contradicted himself or may have said something that didn't make sense, or he kind of called him out on his timeline of things, like, you said you were playing the villain, but then you made the apology video, but then you played the villain again by tasing a dead rat. Like, what's the deal here? So I see what you're saying, but I got out of the interview what I needed, where I thought he was kind of putting him through the ringer.
I would like to interview Logan Paul because I would like to have the emotional interview with Logan Paul. Not the abrasive, not my team against your team. Like, I would literally sit down to the guy and go, look, man, I understand what you've been through. I understand what you're doing. I understand where you're going. I think that would give more of a look into who he really is than arguing with the guy or putting him on the defense.
I don't even know if that is necessary, because I feel like, don't you think you understand him? There is no emotion. He's a character, right?
But let's get into that.
Like, why is he a character? What?
Yes, like the dad obviously is a major factor in all of this.
Yeah.
The brother being on Disney. I mean, the guy is driven by so many weird male competitive things in his life.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. He's really young. He's like 22.
Yeah.
He's got all that testosterone going through his body right now. Like, life's going to be different when he's 30. Way different when he's 30.
Way different.
And I just would love to I'd love for somebody to have a conversation with the guy where it's not, everybody's always like trying to school him.
Yeah.
I would just like to be his bud for 2 hours and see what we learn from that technique. But once again, Casey's questions were brilliant. They were great. To me, it just was, if you're going to do something, commit to it.
Yeah.
And with the disclaimer and his body language,
you wish he were a friend.
It just felt to me, it's like, I'm just doing this thing because I feel like it's going to get views.
Interesting.
I know that I'm not going to monetize this. I don't care if you do. But I just felt like the whole thing was like, this opportunity fell in my lap. I'm kind of in between content right now. Once again, the maintenance of a big 10 million sub.
Right.
Congratulations on 10 million, Casey.
Yeah,
sorry,
real.
I'm busting your balls.
We love you, though.
I care. It's from a place of caring.
That's why we talk about him.
And part of being a fan, you know this from sports.
Yeah.
Part of being a fan is like looking at the minutia. That's where the fandom comes from, is because you care.
Yeah.
So anyways, I thought that the interview was just commit to it.
Yeah.
If you're going to talk to somebody, get in the trenches with them, be there with them. His body language they almost needed two different cameras and they were sitting next to each other.
Right.
But it was interesting. I'll say that.
I would love to see an interview where someone does play the friend to the villain. You know what I mean? I get where what you're talking about and what you're leading to. I can't think of one that I've seen where they do that, but like
nobody's ever just had his side before.
Yeah.